Hi, my name is Stephanie Haywood, and I'm back with my good friend and colleague, Lauren Dominik, and we're the Contracting Gals. We work with MediTract and MD BuyIn. Both organizations are divisions of Tract Manager Holdings, and we support full contract lifecycle compliance solutions and strategic sourcing to healthcare organizations across the United States. So this is the third of 5 segments. Before we talked about the importance of contract management, and we dove into 2 case studies where we talked about the challenges of contract management. In this segment, we're going to actually talk about how to address those challenges. And there are really 3 key areas of focus when you're talking about addressing compliance challenges. 1 is identification of the challenge. 2 is who needs to be involved and making sure you're bringing the right parties in to the table. And 3 is the current state and what you want your future objectives to be. So, Lauren, as we start talking about this, where do you start? I mean, those are 3 pretty broad kind of areas to look at.
They are, and they can get fairly complex as you're examining those different areas and kind of mapping out your plan and your goal for your organization. But in the most successful healthcare organizations, what I've seen them start with is leadership buy-in. Mm-hmm. Getting buy-in from leadership and having that support from the top of the organization down to the bottom is absolutely key in rolling out large and complex initiatives such as contract management and compliance solutions. Stephanie, do you want to tell me a little bit about some of the things that you've seen health systems leadership actually start focusing on?
Absolutely. And they do this in large organizations and small organizations, all resulting in successful implementation. So some of the things that we've seen that they come to the table and really need to sit down and think about is, how do you want to operate? Mm-hmm. And what are your goals? What do you wish to accomplish at the end of the day? And where have you identified your challenges in some of those gaps? And what processes do you want to put in place to make sure to get there? You need to make sure to have the right people at the table. It's so many times that you sit down and you bring all your different individuals to the table and you start talking about contract management and you look around and you're forgetting somebody. So you're not only focused on kind of the legal area, the compliance area, risk and audit, but you need to think about finance. You need to think about physician contracting. You need to think about supply chain, research, all those other departments throughout the organization. You need to make sure that you have them at the table too. If you don't, then it's going to be really difficult to get buy-in as you're implementing these processes throughout the organization. And then, of course, you need to define your current state, and bringing those parties to the table are going to help you do that and determine what your future objectives need to be. So how do you do that?
Well, I think the next step in this very complex process is to streamline. And one thing that is very important to focus on is that every health system, large or small, has this issue. Mm-hmm. I know when clients come to me with issues and concerns and challenges, they're saying, I know none of your other clients have this concern. Nobody else is having this issue. And that's absolutely not the case. Mm-hmm. Every single hospital, large or small, whether they're very prestigious or whether they're in a little bit of trouble, has these challenges of how to streamline and how to effectively implement and address these challenges. And as I mentioned earlier, the key to implementing a big complex solution such as a contract lifecycle solution is the implementation and getting leadership buy-in so that they can provide reasoning to the employees as to why they have to take these extra steps, why we're now moving to an automated contract lifecycle process rather than a manual process that they've had in place for so long. Providing the reasoning as to why is really going to help motivate and push forward the process and further the success of the organization.
Yeah, I think something that you mentioned, and we talked about it when we were diving into the case studies, they didn't do it manually. They found that they couldn't do it manually. You have to have a contract management process in place, and you have to have a solution to support that. And it's got to be something that gives transparency and oversight throughout the organization to help ease some of that burden that organizations are facing so that you can go back and focus on patient care.
Well, and I'm actually glad you brought that up because that's actually what we're going to cover in our next segment is some of the solutions that can be implemented and put in place. So thank you for joining us today. We are the Contract Gals, and we hope you join us next time.
Thanks.